The letter arrived folded into itself like a secret too fragile for the wind. Caleb Mercer found it wedged inside the old iron mailbox at the end of his dirt road, the red flag bent crooked from years of prairie storms. He hadn't expected mail, not real mail. Bills came by truck now, and the feed catalog arrived once a season. But this envelope was different. It was cream-colored, the paper thick and foreign against his calloused fingers. His name, written in careful, slanted handwriting, looked almost shy on the front. Caleb stood there longer than he should have, the Wyoming wind sweeping across the open fields behind him. His ranch had once been loud, boots stomping on porch boards, his wife's laughter drifting from the kitchen window, a little boy's voice chasing chickens across the yard. But the porch had been quiet for 3 years now. Too quiet. He didn't remember signing up for the introduction agency. It was more like something he'd done one night, after too much coffee and too little sleep, after another dinner eaten alone while his 8-year-old son, Noah, pushed peas around a plate and asked questions Caleb couldn't answer. Why don't I have a mom like the other kids? Why does grandma say you're lonely? Why do you look so sad when you don't think I'm watching? The agency had sent him profiles, smiling women with hopeful eyes and stories printed beneath their photographs. He'd nearly thrown the stack into the fire. It felt wrong, like replacing a gravestone with fresh paint. But Noah had found them first. She looks kind, Noah had said, tapping a photo with a small, sure finger. Her eyes look like she listens. Caleb had laughed at the way children decided things, but he remembered the woman in the photo, Elena Petrova, 26. From a coastal town in Eastern Europe, she wrote that she wanted a home full of warmth and a family that needs me. He hadn't responded until the envelope arrived. He opened it standing right there beside the mailbox. The letter was simple and unadorned. Mr. Mercer, I have arrived in Laramie. If you still wish to meet me, I will be staying at the boarding house on 3rd Street for 3 days. If not, I understand. I was told there is always the option to return. Signed in ink that trembled slightly at the edges, Elena. The sky seemed bigger after reading it. Vast, unforgiving. 3 days. He drove into town within the hour. The boarding house smelled like boiled cabbage and old soap. Caleb removed his hat before stepping inside, nerves tightening his shoulders. He hadn't felt like this since the first time he'd asked his late wife, Margaret, to dance. The woman at the front desk nodded toward the staircase. Second door on the left. She's been expecting you. Expecting you. The words struck him, as if someone had imagined him into existence before he even arrived. He knocked. It took a moment before the door opened. Elena stood there in a pale blue dress that seemed too thin for Wyoming winds. Her hair was braided over one shoulder, dark as the soil after rain. The photograph hadn't captured her eyes properly. They weren't just kind, they were cautious, as if the world had taught her to measure every doorway before stepping through. Mr. Mercer, she asked softly. Caleb, he corrected automatically. She nodded. There was silence thick enough to stumble over. I can arrange for you to go back, he said abruptly. The agency said, if it's not what you expected, you don't have to stay. Her lips trembled, though she kept her chin lifted. You can send me back, she whispered. It would not be the first time someone decided they did not want me. The words unsettled him. I'm not saying I don't. He stopped. Because what was he saying? From behind him came the unmistakable sound of boots scraping floorboards. Caleb had forgotten Noah insisted on coming. The boy stepped forward, clutching the strap of his overalls. He looked up at Elena with open curiosity. You're the one from the picture, Noah announced. Elena's guarded expression softened. Caleb cleared his throat. No, this is, my son picked you, Caleb said suddenly, surprising himself as much as her. The words seemed to settle something in the room. Elena's eyes glistened, but this time not with fear. She crouched carefully, meeting Noah at eye level. Did you? She asked. Noah nodded solemnly. You look like someone who doesn't quit. Caleb didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Neither, it seemed, did Elena. They rode back to the ranch at sunset, the sky painted copper and rose. Elena sat stiffly in the wagon, hands folded tight in her lap. Every gust of wind made her blink against the dust. She was stepping into a life that wasn't hers, into land that stretched endless and unfamiliar. Caleb wanted to reassure her, but reassurance had never been his strength. The house appeared small against the sprawling fields, its white paint chipped but sturdy. The barn stood like an old soldier at its side. Chickens scattered as they approached. This is home, Caleb said quietly. Elena looked at it for a long moment. It is strong, she said. He almost smiled. That night, overstew Noah insisted was extra good. The tension remained like a fragile thread. Elena spoke of her village by the sea, of a mother who needed medicine, of winters that tasted like salt and longing. She did not speak of why she had chosen this path. After Noah went to bed, Caleb found her standing on the porch staring at the horizon. "You can still change your mind," he told her. She didn't turn around. "You speak of sending me back like I am a parcel." He winced. "I came," she continued softly, "because someone said there was a little boy who needed a mother." Caleb felt the wind shift between them. "I don't know how to be what you expect," he admitted. Elena finally faced him. "Good. I do not know how to replace anyone." For the first time in 3 years, the quiet of the house felt less like an ending and more like a beginning waiting to decide what it wanted to become. Chapter 2: The Things We Don't Say. Part 1. Love did not arrive the way Caleb expected. It came in small rebellions. Elena rising before dawn to burn the first batch of biscuits, refusing to cry when smoke filled the kitchen. It came in the way she learned the names of horses faster than she learned English slang. It came in the way Noah began waiting for her opinion before making mischief. But it also came with shadows. The townsfolk watched. Whispers traveled faster than dust storms. Mail order bride, foreign girl, desperate rancher. Caleb heard it all. Elena pretended she did not. One afternoon, Caleb found her kneeling in the dirt behind the barn, hands buried deep in soil. She was planting seeds. "It's too early," he said. "In my country," she replied, "we plant before we are ready. That way hope has more time." He wanted to tell her Wyoming was harsher than hope, but he kept quiet, because something in him had begun to shift. The letter arrived in late spring. Elena recognized the handwriting before opening it. Her hands trembled. Caleb watched as color drained from her face. "My mother," she whispered. "She is worse." The agency had promised monthly payments from Caleb to support Elena's family. He'd agreed without hesitation, but drought had hit early and the cattle were thin. "We will send what we can," he said. Elena shook her head. "You owe me nothing. That's not how this works." Her gaze lifted sharply. "Then how does it work, Caleb? Am I wife worker? Purchase?" The word sliced through the air. He stepped closer. "You are here because we chose you." She laughed bitterly. "You chose from paper." "No," he said firmly. "My son chose, and I kept choosing every day after." Silence stretched between them. "You scare me," she admitted suddenly. "Why?" "Because I am starting to hope this is real." He exhaled slowly. "So am I." The storm came without warning. Lightning split the sky open, setting fire to the far pasture. Flames raced through dry grass like hungry wolves. Caleb and Noah fought to drive cattle toward the river. Elena hauled water with blistered hands, skirts soaked and heavy. At one point, Noah stumbled too close to a shifting wall of flame. Elena didn't hesitate. She ran straight into the smoke. Caleb's heart stopped. When she emerged, coughing, clutching Noah to her chest, something inside him broke open. Later, as rain finally smothered the blaze, Caleb wrapped a blanket around her shaking shoulders. "You could have died," he murmured. She looked at Noah, safe and sleeping nearby. "In my country," she said hoarsely, "we do not run when it is family." For the first time, Caleb reached for her not out of obligation, but out of need. She did not pull away. Summer remade the land. Green returned cautiously, as if unsure it would be welcomed. The garden Elena planted bloomed stubbornly despite the odds. Town whispers softened after the fire. Stories change when bravery interrupts them. One evening, Noah crawled into Caleb's lap. "Can she stay forever?" he asked quietly. Caleb looked across the yard where Elena laughed at a chicken perched wrongly on the fence. "She already has," Caleb replied. But forever required more than feeling. It required promise. Caleb found Elena by the river at dusk. "I wrote to the agency," he told her. Her shoulders stiffened. "I told them the contract is finished." She turned slowly. "Finished? I don't want a contract." He took a breath that felt like stepping off a cliff. "I want a marriage." Her eyes filled with startled tears. "I came prepared to be sent back." She whispered. "You won't be," he answered. "Not because we can't, but because we won't." The wind tangled her braid across her cheek. "And your son?" she asked. Caleb smiled softly. "He picked you?" "Remember?" Elena stepped forward, placing her hand over his heart. "In my country," she said, voice steady now, "when we plant early, it is because we trust the sun will come." "And did it?" he asked. She nodded. "It did." Years later, another letter would arrive in that same mailbox. But it would not threaten departure. It would announce adoption papers finalized. Elena Mercer, legally mother to Noah James Mercer. Caleb would watch her read it, tears sliding freely this time. No one would speak of sending her back again, because belonging, they had learned, was not decided by agencies or towns or fear. It was decided in burning fields, in planted seeds, in the quiet courage of a lonely cowboy who dared to believe his son might recognize what his own heart was too afraid to claim. And on nights when the prairie sky stretched vast and full of stars, Elena would sit beside Caleb on the porch and whisper softly, not with doubt anymore, but with wonder, "I thought I came here because I had nowhere else to go." Caleb would squeeze her hand gently. "And now?" he'd ask. She would rest her head on his shoulder, listening to the steady rhythm of a home chosen, not arranged. "No," she would say, "I would never choose to leave."